Hello, friends. Welcome inside. Come inside. Game runs deep. I'm Ben. He's Sudu. Ben Garrett of the Ole Miss Spirit. OMSpirit.com. ON3. That's what that QR code is above my guy Sudu's head. For new members, scan it. You get to try us out the other way. Sudu, the other way.
Oh, it's this way for me.
Oh, is it? Oh, for me, it's the other way. Scan that QR code for new members. Try us out for free for 5 days. Then it switches to an annual membership. We'd love to have you at the Ole Miss Spirit, OMSpirit.com, and ON3 at Spirit Ben on Twitter, at Sudu TV on Twitter, at Sudu Upadea. Hey, buddy, what's going on?
What's up, Benny G? How are you, bud?
Man,
it's been a minute. You and me both. Tell me about the dream, man. Tell me what was happening in this dream.
No, you tell me about your new skin regimen. That's what I want to hear about. All right, so this is what happens, y'all. We jump in here. Waiting on Chris Lowe on 3. He's going to be joining us shortly. We're going to talk about the College Sports Summit, if that's actually still coming up this weekend, this Friday-ish. We'll see. Pete Golding's Ole Miss. Josh Heupel's interview with the Tennessee head coach recently where he said he wants him a 2014 college football playoff format. A lot of stuff to cover with one of the very best in the business, and he's been great to me for a long time. I love this dude to death. Chris Lowe's awesome. Can't wait to talk to him. He's coming up here shortly. But before we jumped on, hit the go live, we were just chatting. And y'all have got Sudu so in his own head about how he looks first thing in the morning on these podcasts. This man said he's got him a new – what do you say? Skin regimen?
I just asked Ben. I said, "Dude, how's my face look?" And he said, "Fine." And I went, "Okay, dude. I got this new regimen now. Before I hop on this podcast, I want to make sure we look presentable. You know what I mean?" And so, anyways, yeah. So hopefully that made a difference. I don't know. I feel like the last time I was on here, I told you that I had iced my face, and at least one person said that it made a difference. So yeah.
Look at you. You've exfoliated.
I have not exfoliated. That I have not done. But
I don't know. I don't think I quite know what exfoliation is, if we're being quite honest.
Exfoliation is just basically like you take some kind of scrub or something and just kills all the whatever's dead skin cells, I guess.
I'll take
me acting like I know. I know a little bit. I don't know too much.
I'll take your word. He's taking anti-age. He's putting anti-aging cream under his eyes now.
That's not happening.
As if
that is not happening.
To fight another time and to say, I am not the pothead y'all think I am to be. Correct? I mean, that's what.
Yeah, partially. But it's the jokes are funny, but it's also like, oh man, I could do better. Let's serve the people. Let's give them the best version of me that I can be.
Hey, look, you by yourself, just as you are, is perfect enough, my friend. I think you're great, but I do think it's funny that the chat has gotten so inside your head that now you're doing taking extra step, to make that skin pop this morning. But yes, Chris Lowe on 3's coming on. This is Game Runs Deep. My thanks to Riverland Roofing. One of the many sponsors for us at Talk Champions. Game Runs Deep. Riverland Roofing for all your roofing needs, 662-644-4297, riverlandroofing.com. The little house up top on the hat, it's Riverland, man. They've been with us for a long, long time. God is good. Rebel Dan S. Thank you for joining us. Ova Bell 2 times. Ben and Sudu, what's up? How we doing? Let's have a great Tuesday, fellas. Yes, sir. Howdy toddy. What's the thing you're most paying attention to as we wait for Chris to get in here, specifically about this week, because there are a lot of big ticket things in college football that are being discussed right now.
Yeah, I'm very interested with this summit that is supposed to happen in the White House. I mean, I think it was reported by Ross Dellinger. It was going to be on Friday the 6th, right? So it could either be on Friday or maybe over the weekend, but an interesting group of people going. You have Nick Saban and the big booster from Texas Tech, and then Condoleezza Rice is in there. Tiger Woods is, and you got all these big names. You also have ADs and a few different people from around college athletics that are going to be there. And, I'm just interested to see what comes from it. I know President Trump has taken an interest in trying to, make college sports more viable in the long term. But obviously we're in the middle of a kind of an international thing going on with Iran and all that. So I'm just really interested to see what actually comes from it, if anything at all, or what kind of ideas are discussed, if a new commission gets created. It's just, to me, it's a giant question mark. Very interested.
Mark Canapa, I probably butchered your last name, friend, 1289. Hi from Flowery Branch, Georgia. Hello. Hotty toddy. Sudu, where are you from?
South Carolina. Flowery Branch, Georgia. How about that? I grew up in Oxford. I don't know if he's asking me where in Atlanta I live in now, since he's a Flowery Branch guy, but I've been to Flowery Branch quite a bit. There's some good barbecue out there. I can't remember the name of the place.
Why did I think you were born in South Carolina?
I don't know.
Why did I have that in my brain? I knew you lived in Georgia. It's like for some reason I've always. And also, this is I saw this morning. Again, we're waiting for Chris Lowe on 3 to jump in with us. We're going to talk about a bunch of stuff: the College Sports Summit, Pete Golding's Ole Miss, you name it. I don't know if you saw this. This is from my board at the Ole Miss Spirit, ON3.com, affiliate of On3. Scan that QR code for new members. Here's an interesting tweet to discuss in regards to the new era and some teams not figuring it out. Since January 1, 2025, South Carolina basketball, men's basketball, football, and baseball played a combined 88 games against power conference competition. The record is 15-73.
Yikes.
15-73. That means that the South Carolina fan base has experienced 88 game days and experienced a win 19% of the time. The SEC record is 9-50. I did not know it was that bad.
That is brutal. Wow.
Yeah.
That sucks, man.
Yeah. I when I saw that, so like I was, Suda's former home, man, they're really struggling. And you've never been from South Carolina.
No, I have no idea where that came from.
I've known you for 20 years. You've never been from South Carolina.
Never been from South Carolina. Not once. Mark says, what suburb? I live in Tucker, Mark.
Tucker.
Good old Tucker. It's a nice little suburb, man.
Okay.
Central to everything.
Awesome. Good.
Used to be the city until 2014, I believe, is when they.
What do we really think is coming from this College Sports Summit, though? Because even if the best thing happens, all right, all of college football's greatest minds get into a room together, and this is supposed to be when? Friday?
Supposedly, I believe Ross Dellinger reported the March 6th, which I do believe is Friday. So
yeah. All this sounds like to me is in very similar vein to the NCAA announcing a task force to address tampering.
Yeah.
This seems like a much ado about nothing, more of a putting on a show, the theatrics of the sport, rather than any real tangible results to come from it. Like, what are we thinking that these people are going to do? That Nick Saban's going to walk into the White House for a task force on Friday and say, you know what, we solved it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, what do we really expect here?
Well, I don't know because, dude, it's like Saban, Tiger Woods, Tim Tebow. Like I said, the Texas Tech booster, Cody Campbell, the big oil guy. Neat. Right? You got the Big Ten. I believe the Big Ten commissioner, SEC commissioner is going to be there. I think all the quote unquote Power 4 commissioners are going to be there. Urban Meyer. Neat. Bryson DeChambeau, Adam Silver, Condoleezza Rice, and the article reports that Trump is expected to serve as chair alongside Florida Governor Ron DeSantis and New York Yankees President Randy Levine as vice chairs. So it's a real diverse group, definitely. And maybe that proves to be beneficial somehow. Like some of these guys from other leagues can provide some insight. To me, it's a very simple solution. College sports. It's kind of what the Louisville athletics department put out. They had a whole letter that they put out, I believe, yesterday, which is you need a governing body that can actually govern, which isn't the NCAA, in my opinion. I don't know if the NCAA is ever going to be salvageable and respected again. So you need a governing body, and it does have to come down to some kind of salary cap that is like uniform across the sport. Otherwise, it's exactly what the Louisville athletics department said, or this letter from all these people at Louisville, which is some schools are just going to run away from the others, and it's going to literally create the opposite of what we were hoping with all of the revenue sharing and NIL and all these different things. So I don't know why you need that many people in one room to do it personally, but maybe that's what it takes. Maybe it takes the highest position in the world, Ben, to fix college athletics.
Yeah, I'm not counting. I'm not holding my breath at all that this solves much of anything. I mean, quite frankly, in a world of unfettered capitalism, which is what college athletics is.
Yeah.
How do you put that toothpaste back in the tube? How do you possibly say, you know what? I hope you've enjoyed all the the no limit cash making you've been dealing with, or you've been rolling with here for the last 5-6 years.
Yeah.
And then go, no, won't happen. Hey, Trey Freifogel, former Ole Miss wide receiver, he's in the chat. How we doing?
Trey's back.
We're waiting on right now Chris Lowe of ON3 to join us. I'm about to text him, see where he's at. We didn't specify a time, I suppose. I said 10. I thought it was 10. It's kind of 10. We did.
Is he in?
He asked for the link at 9, so I think he's ready. He's going to show up here soon.
Is he in Eastern time? Because maybe he thought you meant 10 Eastern.
No.
Okay.
No,
all right.
I'll text him again. Then. Here we go.
Oh goodness.
Text him to find out where we're. So I'm just not expecting anything from it. And the thing is like, every offseason, sports go through like reviews of stuff. Like in the NFL, they go over the reviews of rules and things that happen, whatever. They vote on it. Coaches get vote. Owners gets votes. Like, who is the board for college football to vote on these things? Like, the coaches don't get a vote. The NCAA isn't doing anything.
It has to be, man. It kind of has to be set up like the pro leagues, in my opinion, in the sense that there's a commissioner who reports to all the ADs, and it can't just be like these two ADs. Like, I'm an SEC guy, so it'd be cool if Greg Sankey was one of the guys that held the most power, but it just has to be equal. All, ACC, SEC, Big 10, Big 12. I don't know if the Pac-12 is still a power conference, maybe not, but whatever. Give all the schools that compete at the same level representation to this commissioner and have an equal say in all the decisions that get made, and go that way. I know it's a lot more complicated than just that, but that's a really good start in my opinion. But of course, it's like these guys probably, when they get in a room together, probably try to, essentially be like, okay, well, I'm bigger than you. It's a typical thing when you get in a room.
Like, nothing's going to happen.
Yeah. And it's like, well, our conference makes more money than your conference. So should we have more say than you? Like, I'm sure all these discussions are going to be brought up. But if we really want like parity and equality across the sport, then
you're misunderstanding. Who is who is making these decisions? All right. Truly making these decisions. Everyone is pointing to everybody else saying, hey, wait, you decide. Everyone agrees that there needs to be significant reform in college athletics. But I'm asking, there's a commissioner. Adam Silver is the commissioner of the NBA.
That's what I'm saying. In my opinion, all the Power 4 ADs or whoever we're including in this, all those guys have to come together to say, you are the AD. Or you are the commissioner.
You are the guy.
I think the ADs have to be the ones to vote this person. All have to agree and say, this is the guy that we're putting in this position. This guy technically reports to us, but also as the enforcement arm, essentially. It's kind of basically what the NFL does. Like I don't know if athletics departments should have as much say as owners, but I just fear a situation where like you could, like the big governing body could be corrupt, like the NCAA was. So there's got to be some kind of guardrail in place to like stop that from happening. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So you got this college sports summit, and they're trying to, quote, fix college athletics. That's such a blanket way to describe this. Where to begin? Where are you starting? Let's go. All right, let's itemize this thing. All right, number one. I don't know who's documenting the minutes here. You know what I mean? Like, I want to know logistically what the deal is. It's just like a bunch of stuffy old men sitting around the table going, you know what, guys? I don't like the way this college athletics is going. Like, what is the plan here? And like Josh Heupel, when talking to Chris Lowe yesterday, and Chris, we're just waiting on Chris at some point. He talked to Josh Heupel, head coach of Tennessee football. And Josh Heupel's like, yeah, I'm thinking we got to go to 24 teams for a playoff, which sounds just insane to me.
Yeah.
But just like I'm trying to, we can continue to yell into the void here and say 12 teams, 16 maybe. All right, Chris Lowe says he's joining here just right now. Maybe he did think Eastern time. Should I ask him right when he come on? Did I specify?
Yeah. I mean, because look, obviously I'm used to it now, but when we first were recording and stuff, like you'd be like 10 a.m. and I would go, wow, 10 a.m. Okay. And then I was have to do the math in my head, like, oh, that's 11 for me, So
point is like we all should be on Mountain Time. It's the only time that makes any sense. But like, so Josh Heupel says, I want 2014. Great. You said it to Chris, but who do you appeal to? I do agree. Like Tennessee's head coach, Josh Heupel, one of the 16 head coaches in the greatest conference in America, he should have a vote. Okay. But who is he voting to? Like who gets to like render the final thought? Like it's just everybody in a room pointing, saying, hey, you want to do this? Hey, you want to do this? You got it? You want to do it?
I think ultimately if Saban is there, I feel like his voice is going to be the most. You're thinking the best case scenario from the College Sports Summit this weekend, this Friday, if it happens, is Nick Saban becomes the commissioner of college football? No, I don't. I'm not saying I think that's the best case. I'm just saying I think his voice will probably be the most respected. I just imagine they'll get into a room and then like, all right, go ahead. I don't know if there will be structure necessarily.
Well, there's only one voice, one of the very few voices on the national stage that I listen to, and it's one of them is my man Chris Lowe, who joins us now from On3, college football national analyst. Chris, how are you this morning?
Great. I hope I'm not too late. It's good to be with you guys. And tell you what, man, spring practice is starting across the country, and it seems like we were just in New Orleans and then Phoenix, just a few weeks ago. And here we are. So it's college football, man, is 24/7, 365 days a year, and I love it.
Well, dude, you're one of the very best in the business. I've said that a million times. I'm not going to gas you up too much. I feel like all I do is walk around and hype you up every time I see you. So we've been talking about this College Sports Summit coming up on Friday. Do you still think that's going to happen? And what can we really expect from this thing?
I think it'll happen. I don't know if they can pull it off this quickly this week. Maybe they will. I've had a chance to talk to a few people that are on the invite list, and I've asked that very question, Ben. What do you hope to accomplish? And I don't know did you read the letter that the Louisville Board of Chair Board and their president and AD sent out about what they hope real reform can be? Some of the people I've talked to have mentioned some of that, some type of enforceable cap. Now, how do you get around antitrust laws in doing that? Because you guys know as well as anybody, as soon as you, without collective bargaining, try to implement some type of cap, there are going to be lawsuits all over the place. So is there a way that you can get Congress to play ball? I mean, I've never been one, Ben, to hold my breath and think Congress is going to jump in and bail everybody out in college sports. Maybe that you can get an assist from them in some way, shape, or form, which you'd have to, and pooling TV rights. But if you're looking at this through the lens of the Big Ten and the SEC, why do you want to pool TV rights? I mean, that you wouldn't, right? I mean,
right.
Which conferences are commanding the most money to put their games on the air? It's the Big Ten and the SEC. I do believe that there's got to be some way, and if you talk to coaches and ADs, they almost all agree in unison on this, is a way to just somehow curb the constant turnover among players. I know Greg Sankey's for just one portal window, which is what we have right now. There's still going to be end rounds, though. You wait and see. When spring semesters are over, I can promise you this is going to happen. You're going to see a lot of players that unenroll from where they are, whether it's Mississippi State, Ole Miss, Alabama, LSU. Of course, that would never happen at LSU with your buddy Lane. But they're going to unenroll wherever they are, and then they're going to enroll somewhere else. Now, the proposal that's out there is if that happens, well, coaches are going to be penalized and schools are going to be penalized. But that's not in place yet. It's just a proposal. And if it were to be put in place, again, what's going to happen? Well, athletes that are trying to unenroll and go elsewhere are going to retain counsel, and they're going to sue and say, well, you're violating my right to go earn more money elsewhere. So I know that's long-winded, but I think somehow, some way to try to curb some of the chaos that's out there right now as far as players moving around. And you know what? If there is a rev share cap right now, it's what, 20 point, or I guess this year it's a little over 21 million for athletic departments. Nobody's spending. Everybody's spending a lot more than that. I mean, LSU's going to spend. They're over 40 million. Miami, Oregon, all those schools. I mean, Ole Miss spent a ton last year. Tennessee spent a ton. Indiana, everybody talks about Indiana. They got all these bargains. Well, listen, Indiana spent around $20 million on its roster, which is great. Think about that, guys. If somebody would have told you, just as we went down this road, the NIL road, that Indiana not only was going to spend $20 million, but they were going to win the national title and go unbeaten, which tells you how much the landscape's changed. So, man, I don't know. I love the game. I love Saturdays. I do think that with some of the problems that exist off the field, that at some point everybody, administrators, commissioners, athletic directors, people that are stakeholders at every school, at university, let's come together and figure some of this out, figure out a way to get some type of uniformity.
Chris, you brought up a great point with the SEC Big Ten. Ben and I were actually talking about that, and everybody's calling for change, but business-wise, like financially, for some parties, it's probably better the way it is right now. So how do you just based on your conversations with some of these people in these positions, how do they reconcile the business aspect versus the future of the actual sport itself? And you can make a lot of money now, but it could be at a detriment of the sport as a whole, which would then eventually affect you, right?
Yeah, and I think a lot of that's tied to what happens with the playoff too. Because starting, I guess ESPN has the playoff starting, all of it with the new contracting way coming up. But how many teams are going to be in the playoff? What's it going to look like? I mean, there's so many questions that are unanswered like that. I was talking to Josh Heupel. I know this got a lot of play yesterday, and I just asked him open-ended. I said, "What do you think's the right number for the playoff?" And I didn't say, I didn't even mention numbers. I didn't say 12. So he said, "Well, with the way that the landscape has changed, probably 24." Well, I was a little surprised that he would say that, but I started making calls in the league, and you know what? There's a lot of coaches that have warmed up in the SEC to 24. So if we go to 24 games, you would look, and I don't know if we will. I think personally 16 is the right number.
I agree. 16 seems like the sweet spot.
But I bet if we go to 16, you guys have covered the sport, been around it. What's going to happen once we go to 16? We're going to then gradually move to 24. That's what I think will happen, because that's what the Big Ten wants. And I think that's the only way they're going to play ball with the SEC. And remember, those two leagues have all the power. They got to agree. And that's why we're at 12 again this year, is because they couldn't agree. If we do go to 24, though, that's more money, that's more games. Every athletic department right now, have you guys talked to us? I don't care if it's Keith Carter or anybody else who's not saying we got to figure out a way to generate more money in our athletics. Well, if you play more games in the playoff, TV's going to pay more. You're going to have games on campus. I mean, honestly, as I look at the proposal to play 24, I don't know that I like, in theory, the idea of playing a 24-team playoff. But I tell you, the most appealing part of it is you got 2 whole rounds of games on campus. And I think if anything in college football that we have to preserve, and that's having more games on campus. I don't like the neutral site games.
Yeah,
no. I would love to see, and if it help, hey, this is the other thing. If that helps preserve Texas and Ohio State playing, and Oklahoma and Michigan playing, Notre Dame and Georgia, those intersectional games that I'm afraid we're going to lose because the SEC is going to 9 league games, I'm all for that. But I just, again, I think that the playoff is going to determine a lot of that. How many games, how many teams, what the TV contract looks like. But no, I mean, if you're Greg Sankey or Tony Petitti right now, I mean, you want to see the sport do well and thrive, but the people that pay their paychecks are the presidents, the chancellors, and the folks in their conferences, and that's ultimately who they're going to look out for.
The bottom line is this feels like more of the same of just like it's a more of a show of like or theatrics than it is actual, trying to come to solutions and stuff like that, Chris. So like let's handicap it here. If it happens Friday, whatever, all these brilliant minds, Adam Silver and Nick Saban and Condoleezza Rice and Donald Trump, they all get into a room together. The best possible outcome from this is what, in your opinion?
I think to me, number one would be to figure out some way, some shape and form, a way to fix the eligibility window. Because right now, man, there's no rules. I mean, everybody has weaponized the state courts. Ole Miss did it. Tennessee's tried to do it. Alabama's tried to do it. But let's start there. Let's play 5 years. If Ben Garrett wants to stay at Ole Miss or LSU, you'd probably pick LSU over Ole Miss, right?
Right now, 100%. No doubt about it, man. It's just different.
So if you wanted to go for 5 years and play for 5 years, then you ought to be able to do that.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to play for 4, if you got hurt your third year, well, you still got a 5th year. That maybe that's just too simple in my mind. I don't like the idea. I don't know a lot of people like the idea of let's take the Tennessee quarterback. Now he did win Aguilar in court. And this has nothing to do with him. Let's make this a nameless, faceless hypothetical. But he would have been 25 years old this year playing against some kids who were 17 or 18. Is that good for the sport? Is that good for football? I don't think so. I mean, I understand kids won't do it, though. And I know you guys too. Hey, if I can come back and make $2 million a year and you're my son, I'd say absolutely go for it. So people are hypocritical when they wag the finger. This kid needs to move on with his life. No. If he were your kid, and what's Trinidad going to make next year at Ole Miss?
$5 million.
$5 million.
So if Trinidad Shambliss is my kid, and I don't know where he would have been drafted had he come out, I feel sure he would have been drafted somewhere. But you got a chance to come back, a team that you led to the semifinals of the playoff this past year, and make $5 million. I don't care how old you are. Then I get it. That's the system. That ain't Trinidad Shambliss's fault, or Joey Aguilar's fault, or even Charles Bediako's fault. It's just sort of where we are. And there's been too many inconsistent decisions, too many waivers probably handed out over the years by the NCAA, guys able to come back. And when you have that type of moving target, then we sort of get to where we are right now. But that would be my first, if you ask me, if I were the commissioner, and I'm not, I don't want to be, trying to figure out.
I'd vote for you.
Well, I don't want any part of it.
That's the problem. The people that should be in these positions don't want to be in the positions.
The only thing worse than being a commissioner of college football is being like the president of your HOA in your neighborhood, where everybody bitches and complains, and you just, there's no winning. But I would start at the eligibility window, trying to figure that out and get some type of uniformity where if you don't like something or something doesn't work out, you can go to state court and win. Or you got kids that are 25 years old playing, and coaches sort of know that. And you can recruit to that. You bring in guys. And I'd say roster management gets difficult, for coaches when you don't know if a kid's coming back and, who you're looking for in the portal and, who you're trying to recruit out of the high school ranks. So I would start there. We'll see. I don't have a lot of faith that anything's going to happen right away. But, hey, conversation is not bad. And people can, they can, hate on the idea and trying to get people together. But at some point, there's got to be some real conversation. And the adults in the room have to stand up and say, all right, we're going to do this. Maybe you have to give a little bit to get. Everybody maybe have to sacrifice a little bit. But it's as much as we love the sport on Saturday afternoon and Saturday nights, off the field with, as I said, the chaos and the uncertainty and where we go from here. I don't know if you read the Louisville letter, the part about it that I agree the most. Where are the Olympic sports going to be in 2 or 3 years? Is there going to be men's soccer? Is there going to be, men's track and field, men's whatever? Are those sports going to survive? And a lot of these schools financially, I don't see how they will.
Let's just be honest, they won't. And that's the hardest thing about and I would hate to think of that, man, because I can't tell you how many times I've been out there at that Ole Miss track and field covering track, or covering some Ole Miss tennis with Billy Chadwick was here, dude. But this is the culture that they've created. And one thing that When I think about the big picture things of college football, one of the things for specifically, and I wanted to get your opinion on this, Chris, that is locally important or locally significant that people are talking about is Mississippi just passed no state taxes on NIL revenue, right? So like these kids, a teacher, she's got to go teach them kids, like my wife, my third grade math teacher, right? Every Monday through Friday from 7 in the morning till 4 in the afternoon, she's going to get taxed. But these kids ain't going to get taxed. But that's the cost of doing business because you have to keep up with the Joneses, right? When there's no uniformity, when there's no real guardrails in place, I don't blame Mississippi for doing that. I think it's a shrewd move that you have to do to keep up with the Joneses. But I'm curious, what do you think about that? And Mississippi taking that step, because it's like what you're getting at here, like decisions and rules and precedent are being set in courts, not in by a governing body of the of college athletics, college football specifically.
Now, is that no state income tax going to extend to sports writers and podcast hosts? Do you guys sort of get that same benefit?
I really hope so, because man, my kids have been really talking about wanting to go to like something Disney for a long time, Chris. Your boy needs some help out there.
Listen, if I were a pipe fitter or a teacher or a fireman, and I wasn't an Ole Miss fan or a Mississippi State fan, I probably wouldn't like it. But I don't know any fan base, any AD, any school that's playing to win. And let's face it, if you're in the SEC and any Power Four conference, for the most part, you're playing to win. Mm-hmm. It's not going to look for loopholes. It's not going to look for end arounds. Not going to look for ways to squeeze the system, because there really isn't a system. It's sort of, I think, what you were saying, Ben. There is no system. Mm-hmm. And the whole, and listen, the people that are a part of the College Sports Commission, and people talking about, well, I hate the NCAA. Well, the NCAA is made up of membership schools, who, by the way, are the ones who made up the rules. I don't, begrudge those people, but how do you enforce right now if School X says, hey, we got 2 or 3 billionaires who want to give each $10 million. We're going to find a way to get that to our players, whether they fall in line with what the College Sports Commission, what's the phrase, fair market value?
Fair market value.
That is or isn't. Schools are going to do it. And that just, remember, the most preposterous thing of all this, the whole NIL movement, is when we first went down this road, 3 or 4 years ago, the committee that studied this said, okay, it's time we do this, but athletes are going to be compensated and be able to benefit on their name, image, and likeness, which we were way past time to do something like that. I mean, you're some kid out there at quarterback and you look in the stands and people are wearing your jerseys and they're paying $75 a pop or $100 a pop for your jersey and you're not making a dime. Well, anybody that's can back away and look at things realistically says, well, that's not right. But the best part of that whole deal, when I read those early stories and some of the early studies, was now this will never be a part of the recruiting part of college sports. It will not be an enticement to get a kid to come to your school. I mean, that was complete insanity. Anybody believe that, really believe that? Number one, had never stepped foot inside a football department, had never been a part of recruiting, or I have some beachfront property in Missouri that I could have sold. Mm-hmm. They were just totally naive about the whole situation. And now here we are.
It's keeping up with the Joneses. It's something they have to do and understand it. It's just, it shows you like, it's bizarre how things are decided in college athletics these days. It's not about a governing body. It's not it's in the courts, and it's complete unfettered capitalism. I really, really hope, and I know it's going to happen, but I really hope that Josh Heupel doesn't get what he wants and gets a 2014 playoff.
Yeah. Well, and
I really hope we don't get 76 teams in the NCAA tournament. But buddy, I don't know where it's going to stop.
Also, like, how can you as a coach of an SEC team, like, you're already struggling to have a healthy roster by the end of the year. Like, when I covered Georgia, that's all Kirby would talk about, was after almost every press conference was about injuries, game after game. Imagine a 2014 playoff and you got to go into that. How do you even maintain a roster like that deep in this NIL era to be able to compete like that? And
in the SEC, you got 9 SEC games now.
100%.
I mean, this is just stupid, dude.
Yeah, I think it's a lot. I think it's two things: self-preservation for coaches. Because listen, they met last month in New Orleans. The coaches did, and the ADs, and not as I said, not just Josh Heupel. There are a lot of coaches in that room who are in favor of 24, either in favor or warming up to the idea. So he's hardly the only one. In fact, I called 2 or 3 yesterday to say, hey, what is your memory of who wanted what in that room? And they all said, yeah, 24 was something that a lot of the guys were in favor of. But let's be honest, why is that happening? You just brought it up. They're going to 9 league games, and everybody in the SEC has to play a Power 4 non-league game. The Big Ten doesn't have to do that. Indiana doesn't play I know how this is going to come off, so just hang with me. They don't play a Power 4 non-conference team again until 2030. They play Notre Dame. They didn't play anybody of note last year in the non-conference. Now, that doesn't in any way diminish what they did. They were clearly the best team in the country last year. I mean, when you go and do what they did, I don't care. We can people, those of us who cut our teeth on the SEC, we can sit here and argue all day. Well, they really weren't. Well, they were the best team. What would their record have been in the SEC? I don't know, but they boat raced pretty much everybody they played and beat a lot of really good football teams. But if you're an SEC coach and you're going to 9 league games and you know what the grind of the SEC is like, week in and week out, and then you got to play a Notre Dame or a Michigan or a Florida State or whomever, you understand how that beats up on you during the course of the season. So that's probably why a lot of them are saying, hey, 16 maybe, but why not 24? Think about last year. So who gets in last year if it's 16? Texas gets in.
Mm-hmm.
I think Vandy probably.
Yeah.
The fighting Diego.
Notre Dame gets in for
Notre
sure.
Dame.
And maybe BYU is probably the 16th.
That'd be fun.
So who's sort of left out? When again, this sort of explains why the Big Ten who's left out of that equation. I didn't mention any more Big Ten teams, but 2 SEC teams. And I think the SEC's looking at it. Well, what about bubble teams? Well, if you're 24, Missouri would have been on the bubble last year, maybe Tennessee on the bubble. You think back 2 years ago, South Carolina had lost some games early. I think they lost 3 that year. But at the end of the year, they were playing about as well as anybody. Ole Miss goes into Columbia, though, and beats them by 3 touchdowns earlier in that year. But they were playing their best football. So I think if you're an SEC coach, again, to answer your question, why would you want 24? What if we lose early? We're not playing well. But those last 6 games, man, we catch fire. We feel like we could play with anybody. Sort of like an NCAA basketball tournament vibe. I think that's what they're looking at. Me personally, again, I think let's at least we're going to expand. Don't we all agree the tournament?
100%.
Playoff will expand. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's start at 16. Let's assess that over 2-3 years. What's that like? What works? What doesn't work? And then if there's a specific plan in place, and I know the Big Ten has laid out their plan to go to 24. All right, maybe you look at it. But I think we are going to expand, and I think 16 helps the SEC probably more than it helps the Big Ten at this point.
Well, if that's the case, I would love to see a almost like a soccer academy system in college. Maybe we bring back freshman football like they used to have back in the day, and you just let them compete. Sure. And if you need to pull somebody from that team because of injury, I think there just has to be some kind of, I don't know, like a security layer for that. Because I can't imagine getting in as the 24th seed and then half your team is banged up. What was even the point?
Yeah, well, but remember now, not everybody's going to play. See, right now, you're playing, just in a 12 team, you're playing 16 or possibly 17 games, right? So if you don't get a bye and you've played in the conference championship game, and that's probably something I should add, in that proposal to play 24, conference championships go away, which I think is another. Yeah, which I think, but the SEC office would love to hang on. That's been such a sacred game for the SEC forever. It was their baby. It was Roy Kramer's baby when it was started. And let's be honest. I mean, you guys, those games typically, not every year, are among the best games in college football. You're a 50-50 split. There's been a lot of epic, memorable games. They would like to be able to hold on to that. I think you're right, Ben. I think they're gone in some way, shape, or form within a year or two. So that would be part of it. So you do away with the championship game. So you're only playing 12 games. And then the week after the regular season ends, you start the playoff and games on campus. Then have 7, 8 days, play another round of games on campus. So that's 13, 14. So very few teams are going to be playing more than 13 or 14 games. And I'm not advocating for 24. I'm just trying to sort of lay it out what it might look like. But I do think that will be, I don't see 24 being realistic until 2 or 3, at least, with 26, maybe 29 or 30. It might be when we would potentially go to 24. I just, there are two things that are important to me. Number one, I don't ever want to lose the games in the non-conference part of schedules that make college football. I mean, the USC Notre Dame thing, we've heard, those type of games should always be played. I love the fact that Texas and Ohio State play, that Michigan and Oklahoma play. A few years ago, Georgia had a really good series with Notre Dame on campus. And I think that's the most important thing. Play those games on campus. I remember Alabama and Penn State, when Saban was there, played each other home and home in back-to-back years. Those games are a big part of what college football has always been about. The other thing I want to make sure, and this gets to the 24, is there a way if we do 24 that it doesn't negatively impact the regular season and water it down? And at this point, I don't know how it wouldn't a little bit.
God, that's the biggest thing, Chris. Like, those games mean so much. Even now with this expanded 12-team playoff, it means so much. And I just don't want it to be like, well, yeah, we lost, whatever, it'll be fine. Like, we can. What
if a team gets, what if you're trying to use a team? Let's use Indiana as an example. They're unbeaten. I don't know who was their last game of the season against last year in the regular season. I can't remember who it was against. Not the Big Ten championship game, but again, in that scenario, there would be no Big Ten championship game. Would a team like that's ranked number one, clearly going to get in, clearly going to get one of the top 4 to 6 seeds, do you rest your quarterback in that last game?
Yeah, they played Purdue and they won 56-3.
That's a good example. Purdue wasn't going to beat them,
Right.
But do you rest? Because you're going to be a top seed. Now, I don't know if we would ever get to that point, but I never thought 10 years ago we'd get to a point where guys would sit out bowl games. It just continues to evolve, and I don't know any of us have a crystal ball what it will or won't look like. But no, I want to protect I want to protect the regular season as much as we can. I'm afraid, though, as we continue to expand the playoff, there are going to be games that are played in the regular season that may not mean quite as much. And that's the part that I hate. I also want to make sure, and we're going to see this year in the SEC, I feel like the SEC was late to the table and going to 9 games. I get coaches not wanting to play 9 games in the league, but man, to me, it's just not representative of a conference. If Georgia never goes and plays a game at Kyle, they've never played a game at Kyle Field. And A&M's been in conference, since 2012? So the imbalance within the league when you only played 8 games in the league from year to year, and you guys see it. You look at this schedule. Hey, ask Texas and Oklahoma, their first 2 seasons in the league, who they felt like had a harder schedule. Oklahoma's schedule in the league was much harder than Texas. And so I think if you play 9 games, which we are going forward, you don't have, it won't add up equally every single year, but I think there's less of a chance where the schedules will be as imbalanced. But hey, if I'm a coach, if I'm Pete Golding, if I'm Lane Kiffin, if I'm Steve Sarkisian, and I'm looking at last year, Texas doesn't get in because they lost that game to Ohio State. If they were, let's say they would have played, I don't know, Wright State, or they'd have played Boston College and won and been 10-2. Well, you guys know they would have gotten in at 10-2. So I get it. Coaches saying, if it's not going to be worth playing that game, then why would we play it? Because the playoff is the end all. If you're a fan base right now, what's more important, playing those games? I mean, you guys have probably heard from fans on your boards and your shows. They want to get in the playoff. They don't care who they really play during the season. They want to get in the playoff. I mean, 2 years ago when Ole Miss didn't get in and had to me, Ole Miss was more talented 2 years ago than they were last year.
I
now
agree.
they played better last year and played bigger and bigger moments. But they were a better, more complete football team 2 years ago than they were last year, and didn't get in. Well, you guys heard from the fans every day after that. It was playoff or bust for that team 2 years ago. They didn't get in, and even though it was still a pretty good season, it probably was viewed, and you would have a better feel than me there in that state is a disappointment.
Mm-hmm. And no one called for Lane's job, but that's neither here nor there. All right, so I'm going to get you out of here with this, Chris. All right. Number one, your thoughts on Pete Golding's Ole Miss, and few, if any, know Lane Kiffin better than you. What do you think about Lane at LSU moving forward, winning, and all that kind of stuff?
Well, I think there's more pressure on Lane than there is Pete, because you go in, you're making $13 million. You're going to spend $40 million on your roster. They haven't scratched in Baton Rouge now for a couple of years, and you know that school is capable of winning a national title. They won 3 in the last 22 years with 3 different coaches. So that standard for Lane's pretty darn high. Now, listen, you guys know Lane. He ain't running away from it. That's he ran to it. He feels like that job gives him a better chance year in and year out to win a national title than he had at Ole Miss. And that's not to say Ole Miss doesn't have a shot, because they proved last year they were right there swimming in those waters. So I think these first 2 years, there's going to be a lot of pressure on Lane to win, to get in the playoff, and not only get into the playoff, but make a deep run in the playoff. Because, again, everyone's going to be sitting there and saying, wait a minute now, Ole Miss gets to the semifinals last year. You go to LSU, you don't have the same kind of success they did. What's wrong here? I think for Pete, there's going to be pressure because of what they did last year. But, man, they bring back – who is anybody else in college football bringing back a better quarterback, running back combo than the Rebels?
No shot.
I don't think they are. And I think, holding on to the kicker, that guy is a weapon, man. How many games are won in the SEC by 2-3 points? 1-2-3 points, a ton of them. And when you get into the 40 with that guy in a close game, if you're trying to get steal 3 points before the half, he's about as valuable as it gets. Now, defensively, they lost some key pieces. We'll see. I think Pete calling the defense, he's always going to put a really good defense on the field. But I think they got a shot to be I'm not going to predict that they're in the Final Four next year. They might be, but I think they're going to be certainly heard from. I just wish you guys could find a way to get me 12 tickets on the 50 down the lower level for that LSU Ole Miss game on September 19th, because I could retire with what I could sell them for.
Mm-hmm.
If anyone could do it, it's probably Ben, honestly.
I just hope
that you could just call Lane. Couldn't Lane?
Call Lane.
No, they would be in the LSU section. His tickets would be over in the LSU section, but you should just call Lane up and see if he can hook you up.
Yeah, I don't think I'd be like, first of all, I'm glad it's in Oxford, Mississippi this year, because LSU fans have made it very clear in LSU in 2 years when I go over there for that, I'm not particularly welcome, but they look forward to welcoming me in their own special way. But I will put it this way. I'm with you September 19th. I saw it on Andy and Ari's show. The juiciest game in 2026. You're going to be hard pressed to find one better than that. And I know that Chris Lowe will
Lane will tweet. You think Lane will tweet any that week?
No, not at all. He's always
Lane will be off his phone, right? From what we know, like Lane won't even be near a phone that week. He's never on phones on game.
Well, he's
weeks.
always been a very disciplined person, and someone who. I don't know. It's going to be a zoo. But Chris Lowe, I expect you to be in that press box. Sir.
I will be. Hey, I've already circled it. I'll be there. I can't wait. It's going to be, let's be honest, man. Whatever you do or don't think about Lane or how he left or why he left or whether Pete Golding can continue to take that program where it's been, that's the type of game with all the storylines surrounding it that make the SEC what the SEC is.
Yes.
And if you ever wanted to explain to somebody who dropped on Earth from Mars what SEC football is all about, you give them a Cliff Notes version of what happened last year, with Lane's messy exit, what he had built in his, in his defense at Ole Miss, the fact that he's now at LSU, he's coming back to play in Oxford against a team that went to the semifinals last year. That to me, again, if you just encompass that whole thing, that to me explains and lays out what SEC football is all about.
I agree. He's Chris Lowe, On3 national college football analyst, one of the absolute best in the business, the best for my money. I love him to death. Trey Freifogel, former Ole Miss wide receiver, just said in the chat, "Hey, Ben, we'll get Rick Rosano and Charles Stackhouse to escort you back to Baton Rouge." Not a bad idea. Drell Poe's already volunteered, Chris, so I think I might need some support when Baton Rouge.
Maybe we could get like on Friday. If I'm sure game day will be there.
Yes,
I got to think there's no way they wouldn't be there. Maybe we could get like you and Lane on the set. They come out on Friday and do the interviews. Saban's there and Kirk and Des, and bring you and Lane out like one-on-one in one of those time debates where there's sort of like the presidential debate.
Sure.
I think Feinbaum should do it. I think Feinbaum should be the moderator.
Feinbaum would be a great moderator. Let him moderate the debate, you and Lane, and just go at it on Friday before the game.
I'm down for it.
Chris, they're best friends. It wouldn't be a debate. They would just talk about their kids and their families and life.
All he does is send me like the latest reel he comes across on Instagram of a housewife thing. That's all it is. He's Chris Lowe, Ole Miss, On3 national college football analyst. Thank you so much, Chris. You're the man.
You bet, guys. You guys do a great job. It's always been good being with you. Take care. All right.
Awesome.
See you soon. That's Chris Lowe, one of the absolute best in the business, the best for my money. I just think the world of him.
That's $1 million idea, by the way, from Chris. I wish, man, we should somehow make that happen.
So Ole Miss fan 19198-824. Yeah, put Ben on game day. I'll petition for it. People like, who is this idiot talking to Lane Kiffin? Who is this? It's like when all the stuff went down after the Egg Bowl. It's like, why is Lane picking on this child? Because I got
who is this 18-year-old kid that they're picking on?
Yeah, that was awesome, and I agree with Chris, man. I hope something comes of the summit. I hope something comes.
I think all of us.
I don't believe anything will come of the summit.
I think you and I both came into this discussion with a giant question mark about it, and after talking to Chris, I'm like, still a giant question mark about this.
Yeah, and that just shows you what college athletics is in 2026. You know, I got Dakota King saying Pete Thamel next. We'll get somebody. I actually asked on the Ole Miss Spirit, OlenSpirit.com, affiliate of On3, that QR code right above Sudu's head. If you scan it today as a new member, you can sign up for the low price of $1. Try us out for 5 days. Then it switches to an annual sub. We would love to have you at the Ole Miss Spirit. Ole Miss Spirit, if you're an Ole Miss person. If you're not, we'd still love to have you, dude. Come hang out and talk with a bunch of Ole Miss people. We do this all day, every day. I'm about to have to leave because I forgot to take my Rosie Puppertons to get her hair cut this morning. And Emily is very, very upset with me. Because she needs it. She looks like a sheepdog, my little sheepdog of a pups, and I completely forgot. And I was like, well, I got to do the podcast now. So I've been doing that against the backdrop of talking to college about college athletics while getting my sweet dog.
Oh,
that's Riley, by the way.
Is that Riley?
That's my Riley bug. And that's my Rosa Peps. And she needs a haircut. So I got to do that at 11. She was supposed to be there at 8 o'clock.
Oh, it's all right. It happens.
It's a dad life, bro.
It'd be like that, Ben. I can't directly relate, but I can understand.
So you and I will be back together Friday.
Oh no, I'm at CBS this week.
He's in
the morning too. So
this is it, man. This is it for you and me?
This is for this week. This might be it for us, bud.
Sudu, set the stage for the rest of the week. Ole Miss just college athletics, sports, football fans in general, according to Sudu, need to be paying attention to what? So when we come back, this is what is going to have happened, and we're going to have talked about it.
When we come back, what's going to have happened? Nick Saban will be the president.
Dakota King says that looks like a dog Ben would get, man. I always was a big dog person. But my wife and Emily would not allow me to get a big dog. She's like horrified of big dogs. And she said she wanted a dog for in the house. So it couldn't be a big, I wanted some huge golden retriever or something running around. So it was a Christmas gift 5 years ago for my girls for Christmas. I still got the video. I should play for you. It was the cutest thing ever. And Gracie cried, little Gracie. She's like, "Thank you so much."
Oh.
And she's wonderful. But she's like a little bitty dog, like a lap dog. And all she wants to do is be loved and to love in return. Let me ask you though, I got it for her. I went against my preference for dogs, and so like I
wanted a golden. You said
I just want to go adopt a big ass dog from a shelter and let become my best friend. Yeah. Having said that, I never thought I'd have a lap dog, a little bitty dog. She weighs nothing. She's cute. She's sitting here right now on the chair in my office asleep on the ottoman because she's always where I am. My question is, or like, who do you think that dog belongs to now? Who do you think's that dog's person? It was given to my girls. Yes.
You, duh. Every time I call you, you're like talking to that dog, dude.
Yeah. That's my pup.
Either she's doing something wrong or you're just like,
no, she never does anything wrong. She's an adventurer, man. She wants to explore, bro. She don't want to live within the confines of these walls, these here four walls. She wants to see the world. But sometimes you gotta, protect her from herself. So I gotta do that at 11. Gotta take her to the groomer. But thank Chris Lowe 120%, man, for coming on and joining us. Awesome. He was absolutely awesome. And he's
I used to read Chris Lowe like I used to read you, man. I'd come home from school and get on the ESPN SEC blog, and him and Edward Ashoff.
Best.
God rest his soul, man. Oxford High alum. Yeah.
God rest. I miss Edward Ashoff. Man, you threw me on that one, bro.
That guy gave me his number when I was in high school and answered anytime I would call him, which wasn't that many times, but just was always willing to help. He was, I associate him and Chris together because of that ESPN SEC blog. So it was really cool to just have him and chat it up with.
And when Ed passed, Chris was one of those who, and he still like honors who he was, and like he was an incredible sports writer, Edward Ashley, but he was so good at it. He was a far, far better human being. He was just a wonderful, wonderful human being. And I'll never forget back in the 2010s, man, the Ole Miss beat was it just wasn't a happy place to be.
Right.
And I'll never forget Ed came to cover a football practice in Vaught Hemingway Stadium. And Ed is a lot like me, except he doesn't cuss a lot and he's not loud all the time. But like he wants to be friends with everybody. He goes around and chatting everybody. And he comes up to me and he goes, man, why is it so like angry here? And it's sad when I was like, you know what? Like if you put yourself in the shoes of somebody like Edward Ashoff or anybody that comes in, like, so from that point forward, I tried to make it very clear to all the national guys, people like, I don't want anybody to ever think that our little Ole Miss community group is an angry, hateful group. And he changed like our group a little bit for the better, just for being a good person. So yeah. I think the world of him. I miss him. He was a mentor to me, even though he's only a couple of years older than me. Yeah. I miss Ed every day. And Chris, like I'm with you. That's what I did too. The SEC blog on ESPN was, it was appointment reading
every day, man.
Chris Lowe. So hopefully we scratch that itch for y'all a little bit here on Talk of Champions / Game Runs Deep with Ben Garrett, Sudu Upadea. Thank you to Riverland Roofing for all they do for us and sponsors. RiverlandRoofing.com, 662-644-4297. That QR code above Sudu's head. Click it. Other way. Click it. Other hand.
It's on this side for me, but
just leave it there. Click it. All right. Scan it. Sign up for 5 days as a new member for just $1 until it turns to an annual sub. We'd love to have you. Sudu, will you make one post today on the Ole Miss Spirit? One?
Yeah, I'll see what I can do.
All right, cool. So Sudu says he'll make one post today. You see what I got to do though? Like he has a comp subscription as his baby bro, but he won't like hang out with me for free all the time. This is bullshit. Like,
I'm on there, dude. I read the Spirit maybe like 2 times a week. Depending on different weeks. Maybe more,
oh wow! Don't go overboard.
Well, oh wow! I'm talking about this current time of the year.
Chris Lowe, I loved his SEC blog. Read it every day after lunch, before I went to bed, when I'm on the shitter. Oh, it was the best thing ever. I read you, Ben, once or twice a week.
No. Your stuff I read. What I'm saying is I'm not on the boards as much as I would be during football season, but I'm on there at least. My point is, at the very least, I'm on there 2 times a week.
Well, Drew says Sudu's eyes are opening. Better go get your medicine. This has been Game Runs Deep. Thank you, Sudu. Sorry I have to run so quickly. I hate that it won't be us again later this week, but I will see you this time next week, a week from now on Tuesday.
Yes, sir.
And I'll get another guest for us. How about that? And then I'll promise to actually fulfill my obligations at home, like not forgetting to take my dog to the groomer, so that we can. Oh, Sudu needs to hit the Penny Hardaway. I want to get Penny Hardaway on this show.
I don't know if now is the best time to get Penny Hardaway.
No, it's not. It's not.
I obviously know people that are, in that circle from my time in Memphis. But
in theory, he would be a great one, is all I'm saying.
Yeah, let me see what I can do. I can reach out to some people.
Don't play around. Don't tease me with a good time.
I'm being for real.
All right. Thank y'all. See you soon.
All right. Peace.